I think music is the way I've understood my world. It's the way I understood God. It's the way I've expressed my experience. It's been a part of everything. Music was always a part of my life. My earliest memories are with sound and with music. My mother would send me to sing to the tulips so they would grow and come up in spring. I'm thinking that I probably sang too much in the house and she just needed to get me out of the house some. But yeah, music, it's always been a part of my life, and I've always known the Lord. I grew up on my grandfather's farm, and so I had generations of Christian example and family that guided me and led me into a relationship with Christ. So it's something that I've always known, and music was integrated in that. But when God opened the door of music ministry, it was one I didn't willingly walk into, but I thought, well, I'll do it for a time because it seems like that's what He's calling me, and I have no other teaching position at the time. He closed the other doors. And that's how I walked into music ministry. And that was not just an 8-month thing like I thought it would first be. It's turned into 25 years of music ministry. Music enabled me to stand in front of people when they were accepting Christ for the first time. And that's really the most awesome experience. And I don't think there was any other thing that could have afforded me that opportunity. Music opened up travel around the world, where this little girl from Tennessee was seeing and beginning to understand the way the world worked differently. And that is actually when my passion for children and advocating for children's rights occurred, because music ministry had taken me to these countries and these places where I saw the suffering and the heartache, and I had to do something about it. And music gave me that opportunity. In that first year, I traveled around the globe, literally, to all these different countries, but the place that broke my heart was Indonesia. And then to see so many children on the streets, that I thought, how can so many kids be born with all of these problems? And I'm thinking, you know, what is lacking in their nutrition and all? And then a physician that was helping us tour around a little bit, he said, oh no, these children weren't born this way. They were maimed intentionally to raise a higher dollar on the street. And you know, that begins to dawn on you, and you begin to recognize what you may have heard about on TV or read about. You see it in front of you, and you have to do something about it. So music afforded me the chance to see that, and then I realized I could use my music ministry here in the United States as a platform to speak on behalf of others who couldn't speak for themselves. I did that because I thought I'd never have any children of my own. It was an easy fit, and I felt like I could make a difference. And then when my son was born, everything changed for me. I knew the greatest work I could ever do is to raise my son to be a man of God, like my family had tried so hard to raise me to be a follower of Christ. That was my job now. And who would have thought that World Vision and all of these children that I had spoken out before through the years, these things would now become a witness to my own son and help shape what he wanted to do with his life and how he conducted himself. Since my son has been probably 4 years old, he uses his own allowance to help feed other people. He sponsors a child in another country himself. And I know that seems like simple things, but to a mother's heart, it's important things to see the heart of Christ coming out in your child. It has been a real joy for me to be able to speak on behalf of these kids. I don't work for World Vision or anything. This is something I chose to do with my music ministry. And thanks to so many people in my generous audiences, thousands of kids have had a hot meal every day, all their medical needs met, and have received a Christian education. And I think that's a pretty phenomenal thing. It's really about our hearts and our hearts being more like Christ and just simply giving and serving others, because that's what Christ did. That's our role as Christians and our responsibility. That's really the biggest part of the gospel, frankly, is taking care of the needs of others and supporting and loving them. We give because it's the right thing to do. We help because it's the right thing to do. And the people that we've helped, their relationship with God, their life choices are then up to them. We can only give them the opportunity. And I like that about World Vision, frankly. I think I mentioned it earlier how it was strange for this little girl from Tennessee to get to travel the world and to have a better understanding of how God was calling me to make a difference in this world. I just want to say that it's been my greatest joy, and I'm so thankful that music took me to these places so that I could make things better for a few children around the world, so that I could sing to the hearts of people who were looking for Christ and found Him in those moments. And I am so glad that God has given me that opportunity.